What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Monday. DK Show up on the air. Hopefully, all had a fantastic weekend and ready to hit up a brand new work week here. Appreciate you tuning in and making us part of your start. Whether it's on the radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM online, stream it worldwide, sportstalk1051.com, or by downloading the app and taking it on the go, video stream up and rolling, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, smart devices, all that good stuff out there. But what do we got on a game plan for us on this Monday morning of May 13th? Brew Crew winning the series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Their lone loss coming yesterday on Mother's Day, 4-3 loss for the Crew. But the first three, Brewers getting the wins. 5-3 victory on Saturday, 11-2 victory on Friday. Robert Gasser with a fantastic debut. And then, of course, we talked about Thursday's win on Friday there. But Robert Gasser, what a major league debut for him, getting a win and just a fantastic performance from the from the youngster. Going 6 innings, only giving up 2 hits, striking out 4, didn't issue a walk, didn't have an earned run. Just a fantastic performance from him. And shout out to the offense for giving him some run support. It took a little bit, though, until the Brewers put up a couple runs there in the 4th inning, and then really kind of maybe sealed the deal in the 5th when they put up 5, and then really sealed it for sure, lock and key with 4 in the bottom of the 7th there. But man, that was a heck of a performance from the youngster there. Brewers coming back and winning it on Saturday and then falling just a bit short yesterday. But with the Brewers taking 3 out of 4, they still remain a half game up on the Chicago Cubs for first place in the division. Next up for the Crew will be their series against the Pittsburgh Pirates that begins tonight, a 3-game series for the Pirates. Before a long road trip here for the Brewers, I believe it's their longest one of the season. They'll have an off day on Thursday. Then they have a weekend series against Houston, then Miami, and then at Boston before returning home for Memorial Day weekend to take on the Chicago Cubs for that 4-game series. So we're going to talk some Brewers coming up here because first quarter grades are due. First quarter grades are due. It's at that number where it's at, like, if you want to get down to the brass tacks and the accurate math here, it's like at 24% something. And after tomorrow, it's after 25%. So today we're going to do first quarter grades for the Crew. All right. So who gets A's? Individual players, coaching staff, all that good stuff. And what overall grade would you give the Brewers in their first quarter? Going to go A? Exceeded expectations? Maybe B? C for average? Anybody going to be a really tough grader when it comes to the Crew and their first quarter of the season? And who's on the A honor roll? All right. I know school's starting to wrap up here for some peeps and some already over with if you're in college. But who's on the A honor roll for individual players or coaches, or if you even want to throw in some front office people like Matt Arnold? Maybe who's got the lowest grades? Maybe who's got to go to? I don't know if this was like for every school, but like when I was in school, if you got like really bad grades or you had a really bad grade, then you had to go to restricted study hall. So like who has to go to restricted study hall? Who's maybe grounded from their low grades? Anybody on this team going to get that designation? What do you got? Start to hit me up. All right, with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Give me your high grades. Give me your low grades. Who's on the honor roll? Who's in restricted study hall? So we'll hit that up. Plus, taking a look at this upcoming series against the Pirates starting tonight. Colin Ray is going to get the start for the Crew. And it looks like for the rest of the series, Joe Ross is going to get to start on Tuesday, and then Gasser's going to he's scheduled to get the start on Wednesday. Definitely deserves another start with his performance on Friday. No doubt about it. So, plenty of baseball talk coming up here. If you are paying attention to the postseason for either Stanley Cup playoffs or the NBA playoffs, Minnesota Timberwolves dropping game 2 to the Nuggets last night, 115 to 107. That series is now tied at 2 apiece, kind of a role reversal here. So the Timberwolves go on the road and take 2 against the Nuggets, who have been really good at home. They go back to Minnesota, and then the Nuggets take 2 on the road against Minnesota to even that up. So also Pacers evening up their series against the Knickerbockers, the New York Knicks. So that is also tied at 2 games apiece. So coming up tonight, you've got Boston at Cleveland. They'll try to tie that one up. Cleveland will. Oklahoma City visiting Dallas. Dallas is up in that one as well. Dallas is up 2-1. Stanley Cup wise, for the postseason here, we got a couple games in action tonight. We've got Carolina going up against the Rangers. Carolina, can they get it done? They're up 3-1. Dallas taking on Colorado. Any Wild fans out there that are kind of secretly rooting for the Stars? If you had to hit your wagon, are you rooting for the Stars, or does it still hurt knowing that the Stars used to be the North Stars and then you just can't root for them? Or I mean, do you still like, hey, that was a team I maybe originally grew up with, originally was a fan of? That's who I'm going to continue to roll with. So, but that's where it's at. Boston currently right now is leading their series against Florida 3-1. Vancouver leading their series against Edmond 2-1 as well. So we'll throw some playoff talk in there. Also, believe we'll catch up with JC and EC, Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire. Do a little local sports roundup. Shout out to Oliva Strom. This had to be just freaking cool. So they actually played at American Family Field after the game yesterday between the Brewers and the Cardinals, and they picked up an 8-6 victory over Pewaukee in their game. So shout out to Oliva Strom. That had to be a lot of fun. And I believe Pewaukee is a very good opponent too. So pretty cool. Pretty darn cool yesterday to see that. So shout out to Oliva Strom baseball for that. If that isn't a backyard dreams thing, I don't know what is. So, but we'll catch up on all things on the local side here with JC in the EC. Hopefully he'll be making an appearance coming up in the next hour. It is a weekend hangover. So what are your highlights, lowlights, your studs, your duds, the best, the worst of the weekend? Whatever you got, we want to hear from you. All right. Hit me up on that texting line. Comment on the video stream, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be. What is your picks for the weekend hangover? Again, it's your highlights, lowlights, best and worst, studs, duds. It's a little open to interpretation. You can go about it however you would like. So with that, that's kind of the game plan going on here right now. So let's pitter patter. Let's get at her, shall we? Let's talk some baseball to open up things. First quarter grades for the Crew. First quarter grades for the Brewers. Who gets A's? Who's on the honor rolls? Who maybe is getting an extra note sent home to their parents saying, so-and-so, got to improve, got to do better, got to focus more, pay attention in class more. Is there anybody on this Brewers team that's like that right now at this point in time? Maybe it's Jackson Cheerio, because it's been a hot minute. I mean, yesterday he got the start, but before that, wasn't getting in the lineup for a few days there. And Pat Murphy kind of saying, guys got to be held accountable. And it sounds like it was more towards his pregame routine pregame BP, and he's been lately hanging out with Contreras and Willie Adames and those veterans to kind of develop that routine. So maybe it is a little bit with Jackson Cheerio over there saying, "Hey, hey, restricted study hall, sir. Got to go over there and get your act back together or something like that." Might be a little dramatic there, but um, other than that, I don't know who else you'd kind of throw out there as maybe some really poor performances. Maybe it's a Joe Ross. Let me know. Let's see where we can get with this list. All right, but your first impression, anybody gonna go lower than a B for the Brewers for an overall first quarter grade? And if so, I want to hear why. All right, tell me why you're a hard grader. Tell me why maybe you're grading them a little bit tough. I mean, first place by a half game over the Cubbies, first quarter of the way through the season. All right, make your case. So let's do it. We'll take our first break and then get things going here on the leadoff, talking some Brewers, taking 3 out of 4 against the Cardinals, and then first quarter grades. We'll be back after these quick words. Getting ready to hit the road a lot lately, or maybe are you? Let me rephrase this. Let's start over. It's a Monday morning. Are you hitting the road a lot lately, or maybe you're getting ready to spit it out, Dan? Well, you better make sure your vehicle is ready to put on all of those miles this upcoming summer, which means it's probably a good idea to get some new treads, get some new tires, and get an oil change to help your vehicle perform at its best this traveling season. Where to go, though? Hey, that's simple. ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Not only does ASAP Used Auto Parts have high quality used auto parts to help with your budget, but they are also your go to place when it comes to oil changes and new tires. So make sure your vehicle is ready to hit the road for another traveling season. Set up your appointment with ASAP Used Auto Parts today and have a safe and memorable traveling season. All right, let's begin things this morning on the leadoff. Let's talk some Brewers. Brewers taking 3 out of 4 against the Redbirds of St. Louis. St. Louis Cardinals taking 3 out of 4. Not able to complete the full 4-game sweep for the Cardinals, but nonetheless, yes, I am wearing a shade of purple, by the way, there, C-Bomb. Why did I know this? Not to get off on a tangent, why did I know that I would wear this and you would give me some poo-poo on this? Here's the thing, no, C-Bomb, you'll never catch me wearing this shade of purple during football season, okay? It's my golf wear, all right? It's my golf line, if you will. Sometimes I gotta put on a little lavender to with the get into the golf season, get in the golf mode. But I knew it. I knew somehow C-Bomb of all people would see me wearing this polo and he would just instantly give me crap. Give me crap. Ah, well, at least you're listening this morning, C-Bomb. How about that? So, all right, back to the Brewers though. Brewers taking 3 out of 4 against the St. Louis Cardinals. Lone loss coming yesterday on Mother's Day. But with the Brewers taking 3 out of 4, they still remain in first place over the Cubs by a half game in the division. Cubs taking it to the Pirates over this weekend here too. So tight race between these two teams. Cubs will begin a series against the Braves, while the Brewers will try to do what the Cubs did to the Pirates and win that series too. So I want to talk about first quarter grades, though, when we look at this Brewers team. I want to talk about first quarter grades here in a second, but a quick recap of what transpired over the weekend for the Brewers. Let's go back to Friday night because I think that was a big time game here. Now, not to put a lot of stock into just one game. One game is not going to tell us the future of somebody's career or anything like that, but you can't ask for, I mean, it's tough. You probably could get a little bit better, but I mean, for a guy's debut as a starting pitcher, you can't ask for much more than a better start than what Robert Gasser did Friday night against the Cardinals. Picking up his first career win, going 6 innings, just giving up 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Just a fantastic performance. And then his offense, the rest of his team coming out and giving him some run support. Although in the first few innings, it looked like those teams kind of struggling, maybe to put the barrel on the bat, manufacture some runs. Brewers kind of opened that up in the fourth with 2 runs going up against Lance Lynn. Then they really opened up the floodgates in the fifth, putting up 5 and really sealed the deal with 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th. But you want to talk about, shout outs from the weekend or a little weekend hangover, the highs with the lows, studs and duds. Robert Gasser's on that list. I mean, just imagine yourself as a youngster making their major league debut in your home stadium, going up against a division rival you go out there and you throw 6 innings of 2-hit ball, no earned runs, no walks, 4 Ks. That sweeper of his looked lethal, looked pretty deadly over there. I mean, I got to imagine, especially on a Friday night, stadium's packed. The nerves, the butterflies, they got to be rolling. I mean, that's what sports is about, baby. It's performances like that. So shout out to Robert Gasser. He was absolutely fantastic, awesome, and you hope that this is going to be a sign of things to come for his hopefully long career. But man, that was fantastic. So Brewers then following it up with another win on Saturday. They picked up that win 5-3 against the Cardinals. And then they had a chance to go for the sweep on Mother's Day, which the Brewers have been the best team overall record-wise on Mother's Day games. And the Brewers have had this history of performing incredibly well on Mother's Day. I mean, we can all kind of go back to a couple games, right? Bill Hall, Freddie Peralta's debut was on Mother's Day in Colorado when he struck out for 10. You want to talk about good debuts from a starting pitcher? You know, Freddie Peralta is up there too. But, you know, quickly going back to Saturday's performance, 5-3 victory for the Crew. You know, the Cardinals were able to put up 12 hits in that game. Freddie Peralta was on the mound. He picked up a no decision, but he went six innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, did have 8 strikeouts. But the Brewers battled back in the 7th, putting up 3 runs thanks to Rhys Hoskins, who's been displaying some power there with the go-ahead. So the Brewers securing a series win on Saturday and then falling just a bit short yesterday in a 4-3 game against the Cardinals. Even though the Brewers jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the first, after the first, not able to produce anything after that. Literally nothing. And the Cardinals just packed away. Wilson going 4 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 walks, though. That was kind of a killer there. But nonetheless, Brewers overall taking 3 out of 4 against the Cardinals. I think a lot of us would take that any day of the week, regardless of how much the Cardinals may be struggling at this point in time. So with that, we're about one quarter, the first quarter of the Brewer season in the books. Okay, we're at that line. It's like right a little bit before, but after tonight's game, it'll be a little over 25% of the way through the season. So who's on the A honor roll? Who's getting, that perfect GPA or whatever? I mean, we can come up with any other school reference we want to here, but who's getting high marks? Who's getting high grades here? And then what kind of grade would you give the team overall? And is anybody willing to go lower than a B overall as a team? And if you are, tell me why you're grading them pretty hard. Tell me why you're grading them pretty hard. So before I get to a team grade, I want to highlight some individual players, if you will, my honor roll for this team so far this year. I think you have to start with Contreras. To me, William Contreras right now is the team MVP. He should be mentioned as a league MVP. If they did like first quarter of the season MVPs, he should easily be on that short list, that watch list right now. What he has done, obviously, you look at the offensive numbers. He's hitting 346, 37 runs scored, 30 RBIs. All those numbers lead the team. And, oh, I'm sorry, the guy plays every day. Every single day, and he's a catcher. You don't see that type of mindset that much anymore in sports. Like, we talk about load management. We talk about days off and veteran rest days. And you got this guy And I know he's younger, but you got this guy who his goal is to play every single day. Every single day. That mindset, I feel like it's kind of getting rare in any sport at the pro level. Oh, and I'm sorry, he's on a on base streak right now. He's extended that to 20 games. Contreras is an A plus. I didn't even get to what he's meant to this team behind the dish. Going through so many different pitchers, starters, relievers turning into starters, bullpen arms. You know, no Devin Williams, no Brandon Woodruff. Wade Miley was very short. A lot of young guys. But the job that Contreras has done calling games behind the home plate too and managing this pitching staff as a youngster, I know we focus a lot on the offensive numbers that he has displayed and has shown out there, but what he has done behind the dish too cannot be overlooked. Contreras is easily A plus. First quarter of this Brewer season. This man has just been fantastic. The clear-cut MVP of this team, in my opinion. Clear-cut MVP. And that trade that Matt Arnold did last year to bring him in, just it continues to look better and better and better almost every single game that guy goes out there and plays. Some other A's that I'm gonna give Christian Yelich an A. I know he missed some time. He missed some time, almost a month or so. He's played in 15 games. I mean, that's not a big sample size. I understand that compared to, like Willy Adames and Contreras have played in 40. But I'm still going to give Yelich an A. You're looking at this series, these last 3 games against the Cardinals, 9th, 10th, 12th, multiple hits. So far this year, 364. His OPS is a 1.126, 5 home runs. And the start that he was on, I mean, he was on a fantastic start, showing the power. So I know the sample size isn't as much as a Contreras or some of those other guys, but Yelich, I'm going to give him an A. I'm going to go out there and give him an A. Another guy I'm going to give an A, I'm going to give Bryce Terang an A. What he has meant for the top of the order now as of late, but just getting on base and stealing those bases. He has kind of, he has been the forefront of what a lot of Brewers fans have wanted to see this team do for a long time, and that's be uber aggressive on the base pass. He's got 16 stolen bases so far this year, but you know what? You can't steal bases unless you get on base. And Bryce Terang has made a monstrous jump compared to what he was doing last year when he was, rookie last year. We knew the defense. By the way, that sweet play was that Friday when he caught that liner, jumped up, showed off his skills, and then was able to turn like midair and throw the guy out at first. Was that Friday night? I think that was Friday night. But we knew Bryce Terang's defense. We knew he had the skills there. Offensively, he really struggled last year. At least in the first quarter of this season, he has turned that around, and you hope that's something that can continue. But right now, a 301 average with a 786 OPS, he's getting on base, and he's stealing bases, 16 stolen bases so far from him. So I got to give Bryce Terang an A too, especially when you kind of consider his offensive numbers from last year. If he's going to be now a staple at the top of the order, and you got Contreras hitting behind him, and if Bryce Terang can continue to get on base, even if it's just a single, it's going to turn into a double. A lot of times he's going to turn into a double because he's going to steal it. And then automatically you got a guy in scoring position with Contreras who can hit all over the field, and he is just hitting lights out this year. Heck yeah. So I think I'm going to go those guys with with a you know what? I'm also going to throw Brian Hudson into this too. Kind of a bit of an unknown coming in to the season. Relief pitcher. He's 2-0. He's appeared in 15 games. But he's 2-0 with a .81 ERA. I'll throw an A- on there for Mr. Hudson too. And oddly enough, he's my Hudson's one of his favorite Brewers pitchers now too because of the last name. But for a season of, pitchers and call-ups and injuries and trying to fill in spots and eat some innings and that guy's been pretty a nice, pleasant surprise coming out of the pen this year. How about a B on a roll? Who are some guys that I'm willing to give some B grades to? Let's go back to the offensive side of things. All right. So I'll go Willy Adames on this for my B. I think this is the version of Willie that we wanted to see last year. He's hitting 258. I'm sure some people would like to see that above 270, 280. His OPS is 799. But he's displaying a little bit more power than what we saw last year at this time. He's got 7 home runs. He's got 27 RBIs so far. 4-5 hitter. I'm probably going Willy Adames B. And with that, too, I'm probably going Rhys Hoskins with a B. I didn't expect Rhys Hoskins to have a big-time average, batting over 300. I just wanted to see Rhys Hoskins coming in and providing, that power in the middle of the lineup, and he's done exactly that. He's done exactly that. We can't ask for a whole lot more. Yes, you can probably ask for a little bit of a better batting average and, consistently getting on and such. But we wanted some power. And right now, he's leading the team in home runs with 9. Got to give him that. His OPS is an 805. He's slugging 470 right now. So I'm giving Rhys Hoskins a B over there. I think you have to. Some others that I'm probably giving a B to. I'll go Freddie. I know Freddie's maybe as of late kind of, I don't want to say falling off, but he started off the season really well. He's 3-1 right now with a 3.63 ERA. I'll go Freddie. I'm gonna go Colin Ray on there too. I think you got to give Colin Ray a ton of credit for this year. Again, he was a guy last year. We didn't know who the heck he was, for crying out loud. He gets put in the starting rotation because of injuries, and he had an average year. But so far this year, I think he's come out and he's pitched a ton of good innings for this team. He's 3-0, 3.29 ERA. I think you got to give that guy a lot of credit. He's been having a fantastic year. Considering we didn't know who the heck he was, last year when he got called up. I would love to give guys like Robert Gasser A's and all that, but, just one game into it, we'll see how it goes. Maybe second quarter grades for better suited for him. Pat Murphy, I think, A-, B+. Yes, there's probably decisions that we look at and be in question, hindsight 2020. A lot of them mostly being pitching situations, going to the bullpen and bringing in somebody that probably should have brought in somebody else. Hindsight's always 2020. We get it. But for the most part, Pat Murphy, a veteran manager who's been around baseball for a long time, and he's handed a team that's got a bunch of youngsters on there mixed in with some veterans. I think he's done a fantastic job. And I love the fact that he's being aggressive on the base paths. And I think you got to give him a ton of credit. A, yes, A-, B+, somewhere around there. Team-wise overall, I'm going A. Maybe I'm being a little too nice with my first quarter grades, but considering when we opened up this season for the Brewers and didn't really know what to expect, you had Jackson Cheerio coming in, right? You had these youngsters. You had second-year guys like Bryce Terang. Okay, we didn't know if he was going to make this offensive jump. I think he has blown that out of the water so far. Sal Frelick coming in. We saw him last year. getting a lot of playing time this year. Garrett Mitchell's been hurt. Joey Wiemer's now hurt. But a lot of unknowns surrounding the pitching staff too, right? Was Freddie going to be an ace? Was he going to display that he can be an ace, the number one starter of this rotation? Some youngsters mixed into it. No Devin Williams. How is the bullpen going to look? I think the Brewers have surprised quite a few people right now with how they're playing. They're a scrappy bunch. They're a fun bunch. Watching this team, they're a lot of fun. Is there down moments? Of course there are. No doubt about it. And it's going to happen at different points in a 162 game season. But right now, I got to give this team an A minus. A minus. They've surpassed some of my expectations for this year. At the beginning of the year, I didn't have them making the postseason, and I get it. We got 3 more quarters of the season to go. A lot of stuff can still be, still can happen. But they've kind of surpassed my expectations so far here. And I love the mentality and I love the personality of this group. It's a scrappy bunch that takes on the personality of their manager. I love that they're being aggressive on the base pass and guys are stepping up. This pitching department is stepping up. Chris Hook deserves an A for crying out loud. Their pitching coach, for the different names and different players he's had to work with and get ready. So yeah, overall, I'm giving them an A minus. Absolutely. What they lead the, and I know you can find stats that fit narratives in any sport. But like, what was it, Friday, where they said the Brewers are at that point? Were they tied with the Dodgers, or did they have one? But now they had like a 2-game lead over team with the most 7-run games. Again, you can find a narrative. You can find a stat that fits a narrative for everything in sports. But it's a team that scoring runs. A team that, last few years, what was our biggest issue with them? Scoring, hitting and scoring. They're kind of doing that this year. So I got to give the Brewers my first quarter grades. I'm going to give them an A minus. A minus. I think overall there's more to be happy about with this team than there is to kind of complain. For Jackson Cheerio, what would you give him for a first quarter grade? When you look at his numbers, he's played 36 games, 4 home runs, 214 average, 262 on base, and a 595 OPS. He started off the season, I think, incredibly well. But when you look at his last 30 games, he's hit 196, 250 on base, and a 304 slugging. Right now, in the last 14 at-bats, is just a 143 slugging, and he's hitting 143. And besides Mother's Day, he hasn't been in the starting lineup for a few games. And Pat Murphy kind of, and this is the thing too, he's out there saying it. It's not just behind closers, but he threw out the comment, got to hold guys accountable. And it sounds like it was just, youngster. He's got to, learn to prepare and get ready, pregame get ready like a professional now. And he's been apparently hanging out with, Willie Adames and Contreras and trying to, model what they do before games, how they get ready for games. And those are guys that spend a lot of time at BP in the cage before the game. And it sounds like now Cheerio's kind of shadowing them, if you will. And that's what Pat Murphy's referring to. Yes, he's young, and he's, you're taking your highs and your lows with this youngster. He's learning to kind of be a pro on the fly. So my grade for him, I'm probably going C minus. But for definitely room for improvement. And that's where maybe a guy like Pat Murphy managing a youngster like him, maybe if you had a younger manager who, and I'm just spitballing here, maybe if you had a younger manager that didn't have, any managerial experience or an up-and-comer, maybe they're not as tough on highly touted prospect who got a huge contract because, they don't want to upset the franchise or anything like that. Pat Murphy, he's old school. He's going to do what's best for the team. And in his mind, too, what's best for the player. Maybe Jackson Chourio playing under a guy like Pat Murphy who's not afraid. He doesn't care about the contract, doesn't care about the trajectory or what, the Brewers have envisioned for him. Let's put the best team out there and wants to do what's best for the kid, too. And if that's got to be a little tough love, that's got to be a little tough love. Your grades? Hit me up with a text 715-830-1912 or comment on the video stream. Quick break, and we'll already finish up the first hour after these few words. Going to be spending some of your summer this summer, maybe doing some remodeling projects within your home or maybe your office at your work, updating your flooring in your home or maybe some shower tile or such. Don't know where to go though? Look no further than our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center right here in Eau Claire. All right, whether it's your living room, your bedroom, your den, or maybe you're working on some office remodeling, check out our good friends at Carpet City Flooring Center because they have the best selection, all at the best prices. They treat you like a member of the team over there. They'll work with you to find what works within your budget, but also looks amazing in your space too. And like I mentioned too, maybe you want to do, if you haven't checked out their Facebook page too, when I'm talking about like the shower stuff, see some of the remodeling projects that they've done with some of the showers and such. I mean, it's making me a little bit jealous. I might need to see if wife will let me get the bathroom done in the man cave like that. Otherwise, she'll probably want the main one done before that. But anyways, go check their Facebook page out, follow and like it. They post some updates on some of the projects that they've done and completed and such. It's amazing work over there. So if you're looking for some remodeling work done, flooring or anything, with the shower or such, bathroom tile, check out our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Also, sponsor for the Mobile Man Cave. Shout out to Carpet City Flooring Center, our good friends from Toys and Ford, also sponsor of the Mobile Man Cave, the Elbow Room, Woods and Water Realty. I believe our first, we're going to debut the Mobile Man Cave. Our first event's going to be May 31st for Sports Talk Night at the Express. The Express open up their season 2 weeks from today, believe it or not. 2 weeks from today, the Express open up their baseball season. So, but it's also Sports Talk Night on May 31st. You can also go to sportstalk1051.com and enter to win some Express tickets for that night. But I believe we're going to make our debut for the Mobile Man Cave that day. I picked up some decor to put in the Mobile Man Cave over the weekend, so I got to work on that stuff too. But also, we're going to be at some Little League games coming up in the month of June and such. I believe we're going to be at Mike's Star Market for some stuff. So if you have any suggestions on where we should do some tailgate road trips with the Mobile Man Cave, whether it's doing some live shows or podcasts or such, hit me up. All right, let me know. Give me some of your nominations out there. More info too. You can get it at sportstalk1051.com. Just click on the Fan Cave tab over there. So, all right. Brewers will begin a series against the Pittsburgh Pirates starting tonight. 3-game series, still in Milwaukee. First pitch tonight, 6:40. Then the Brewers will begin their longest road trip, it seems like. I think it is their longest road trip. Yeah, longest road trip of the season. Starting on Friday when they have a 3-game series against the Astros. Then they go to Miami for 3 games, and then they go to Boston for 3 games before returning home Memorial Day. So think about it, put it in this perspective. They got 3 more games at home, but then they don't return home until Memorial Day with that big series against the Chicago Cubs. But for tonight's game, we mentioned his name a little bit earlier. Colin Ray looking for his 4th win, looking to remain undefeated so far this season for the Brewers. So he's going to be up. Mitch Keller is going to be the opposing pitcher for the Pirates. Keller is 3-3 with a 4.41 ERA. Willie Adames has had the most experience going up against him. He's had 20 at-bats, and he's hit 300 against him with an 883 OPS. Others, Contreras, 10 at-bats, couple home runs, hitting 300 with a 1.264 OPS. Just kind of looking at Hoskins has 8 at-bats, and he's 625 with a whopping 1.792 OPS. Yelich, 12 at-bats, 333, 800 OPS. So you got some Brewers. You've got some dudes in this lineup that have had success against Keller. And Mitch Keller, he's coming off of a win against the Angels where he went 9 full on 9 innings. Back on May 6th, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. So he's coming off of a fantastic performance against the Angels just a few days ago. Can the Brewers, maybe get after him there? Colin Ray, meanwhile, when you're looking at this Pirates lineup going up against Colin Ray 3-0 with a 3.29 ERA. Not a ton of at bats for some of these guys against him, which again is to be expected since Colin Ray kind of really jumped on the scene last year here. But you got some guys it looks like with a couple games worth. I mean, Reynolds is hitting 333 against him in 6 at-bats. Yasmani Grandal, 6 at-bats, 167. McCutcheon, 205 at-bats. So, I mean, that's pretty much the most experience that they've got against Colin Ray. Again, I don't know how much we can glean from that, how much we can take away from that and such, but nonetheless, that's kind of your scouting report with some of these lineups going up against these pitchers. Definitely, the Brewers have a little bit more experience going up against Keller than what the Pirates have going up against Colin Ray. Colin Ray, by the way, he's coming off of no decision against Kansas City back on the 7th, where he went 4 2/3, gave up 7 hits and 4 earned runs. 4 earned runs. So maybe looking for a little bit of a bounce back performance for Colin Ray going up against the Pirates. So again, that game, first pitch tonight, will be at 6:40. You can catch it on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Coverage begins, I believe, around 6:05. Pregame coverage begins around 6:05. So, all right, coming up next hour, let's do a little weekend hangover. We'll kick it off with a little weekend hangover, but I want you all to play along with me, all right? Who's kind of your highlights, lowlights, studs, duds, bests, worst, whatever, however you want to phrase it. We call it the weekend hangover, but give me your picks. Hit me up with a text or comments on the video stream if you would like. So we'll get to that. We'll throw a little hoops chat in here too with the playoffs. I know we got quite a few Timberwolves fans still paying attention. And right now, I mean, we had some text from some Timberwolves fans, and they're already panicking right now with that series tied at 2 apiece with the Nuggets. With the Nuggets getting a Game 4 victory last night, so we'll throw a little bit of that, and hopefully we'll get to a little JC and EC Justice Cleveland coming up here for a little local sports rundown, and then if you're into golf, you got the PGA Championship coming up this weekend. Yeah. Again, first of all, I hate it that it's in May. April, May, June, July. Now they do it that way instead of April, June, July, August. But then it's like, kind of forget it's coming up. Anyways, maybe we'll hit that up and get some picks from JC. One in. We got 2 more hours to go. Some news updates. We'll be back after these quick words. Second hour kicking off on this Monday morning. What up, everybody? Hopefully, you all had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to knock out another work week here. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also, hit us up online, sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up over there. You've got the YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I was like, there's 4. Which one am I missing over there? Video streams up and rolling over there as well. We're going to hear from JC Nisi, Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire for Sports Scene 13, WEAU 13 News, coming up later on this hour. Get a little local sports roundup brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. So we'll hit that up. We're going to get back to some more Brewers chat as well. First quarter. Looking for your first quarter grades, Brewers fans, all right? Who gets the A's? Who's on the honor roll? Who's in restricted study hall? Who's getting a note sent home to the parents? Player-wise, overall team, how would you grade it? All right, send those puppies on over. We'll get to some of your comments and picks a little bit later on. Let's kick off the second hour, though, doing a little weekend hangover. So the highlights, the lowlights, the best, the worst, studs, duds, whatever you want to, however you want to phrase it here. So I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but one of the highlights for me, and when we do this, I'm also considering Friday as part of the weekend hangover. I mean, come on now, Friday after your work week's done, it's like, okay, let's kick it into gear here, man. It's like, it's party time now. But I count Friday in this, so that's why I'm going Robert Gasser as part of my highs, as part of my studs, as part of the best from the weekend because of his start on Friday for his major league debut. I mean, it's stories like that's what makes sports awesome. It's stuff like that. Okay, that's what I love. That's what I love to see. So shout out Robert Gasser. He's a highlights for the weekend hangover. I'll throw a Brewers in there overall because I mean, taking 3 out of 4 against the Cardinals, I know they didn't really, get a whole lot of help from the Pirates and taking down the Cubbies this past weekend here, but taking 3 out of 4 against a division team, and especially a team that it seems like has been kind of a thorn in your side for a long time now, at least during my era. I'll take it any day of the week. So Brewers overall, yeah, that's the highlight from the weekend. Would have been awesome to have a 4-game sweep, but hey, can't be too greedy, can we? So, what else? My low. So I'm going to go with a low here. The NBA draft lottery. Raise your hand if anybody knew that the NBA draft lottery was yesterday. Beforehand. I'm not raising my hand either because I had no idea it was yesterday until I saw the results. First of all, I remember it being during the week. I don't know how long did they recently change it to Sunday, but regardless, Atlanta got the number 1 pick. They were supposed to, the ping pong balls and all that stuff. They were supposed to draft around 10. Like their odds were that they were going to be, I think it was like the 10th. So they skyrocketed it up there, and they got the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, 3% chance to win the lottery, the 5th lowest odds by a team to win the number 1 pick since the lottery began in 1985. The Wizards, the Rockets, and the Spurs rounded out the top 4. Here's where I'm going with this. The other part, okay, 2 parts why this is like my low light from the weekend or the worst from the weekend is, 1, nobody knew about it. I should say nobody knew about it. Not a lot of people I felt like knew about it. It wasn't, I remember as a kid watching this and being excited to see who was going to get a top pick or get up there. And to me, it's not a thing anymore. And I think a lot of it is because, 1, it seems like this draft, it doesn't really have a lot of like can't miss talent coming through. Like it seems like from the experts out there saying this class really isn't a whole lot to be excited about. So You don't have a Victor Wembanyama to see, it's the draft to get this guy and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is too is like you see NBA teams just trading first round picks like they don't mean anything. And then you've got these things, with when it comes to a first round pick, it's like, well, it's a protected pick. So, if it's outside the top 3, top 5, then it goes to this team. But if it's within there, then it stays with this team. It's just like, okay, if teams, it seems like, don't value first round picks, why should fans value first round picks? So I think the excitement from that kind of, is like, bleh. So the NBA draft lottery, if it's non-existent to me now, unless they get the next, who's going to win the lottery for this guy, you know, LeBron, Shaq, Ewing. I mean, that sort of stuff. Tim Duncan. But the other part is too the Detroit Pistons, the worst team in the league, got the 5th overall pick. Already in a class that is being deemed as not very talented. The worst record in the entire league. It's the consecutive season that the Pistons have had the worst record, but fell to the 5th pick, according to ESPN here. They've got one of the highest paid coaches in the league, Monty Williams. They just stink at ping pong balls. And the odds here. I mean, if you're a Pistons fan, if you're a member of the Pistons organization, you're probably ticked off right now and annoyed with this whole thing. But what are you gonna do? That's the I don't know if I'm all on board with the lottery thing. Like I feel like the lottery ping pong balls sort of thing should be more of a fan excitement thing, but obviously that's not drawing an interest in there. And I get it why they started to incorporate this. It's supposed to deter teams from um tanking and all that sort of stuff. But really, is it doing its job? I mean, maybe once every few years. I don't know. It's just, I wonder if the lottery thing has kind of run its course at this point in time. So that's my weekend hangover. The positives, Brewers, Robert Gasser. The negatives, I'm going to roll with the NBA draft lottery. I didn't even know it was a thing yesterday. So, all right, let's go through some grades here. David on our texting line, he is rolling with an A for this Brewers team, easily over exceeding my expectations to begin the season. Watching this offense has been a lot of fun. I don't know what to expect going into each game, whether it's going to be a top pitching game or whether the offense is going to explode for another 7-run win. It's been a lot of fun so far in the first quarter. Hopefully, it's something that it will continue throughout the season. Greg also saying on the texting line here, saying, I'm rolling with an A- for the Brewers overall. Not a dominant team by any stretch, but they're winning games and they're a scrappy bunch. And just purely from a fan side of things, I'm enjoying watching this team this year. G-Man a little bit earlier had way to go Brewers on winning the series. Now Brewers will sweep the Pirates. My first quarter grade is A+, and I got the honor roll as Willie Adamas. Go Brewers. This is from Mark. Mark is saying the players that get A's for me are Contreras, Yelich, and Terang, and Freddie Peralta. Going to throw Freddie Peralta on there. Overall, team-wise, I'm going with an A because this team has exceeded a lot. So, I mean, this is a common phrase from a lot of you, but exceeded a lot of expectations so far to begin the year. All right. So, seems like a lot of A's. We got a lot of A's coming around here. So, keep your grades coming. First quarter grades. Can you believe it's already first quarter of the Brewer season? Going to be in the books here. It's going to be like halfway through the game tonight. It's going to be 25%, but man, oh man, flying on by. Really quick too, because is it Wednesday? We're gonna know the Packers schedule. Now, the release shows and all that, and the team social medias will release them Wednesday night, but we know it's gonna get leaked. Games are gonna get leaked throughout the day. It's gonna happen. But but we're starting to get some games out here, and we've seen this before where they've leaked a couple or they've announced some games here and there, leading up to the full on schedule release. And it looks like we know the Thursday night opener. So we know Green Bay and Philadelphia are playing that Friday night, but we know the opener now, where the Super Bowl champion opens up. Chiefs, Ravens. Chiefs, Ravens in a playoff rematch. That's your opener on Thursday. So they ain't, I mean, that was going to be a marquee matchup regardless whenever they were going to play that game. But the NFL looks like they're electing to make that the game to begin the season. So there you go. Thursday. So we know the first couple games to open up the NFL season in September. Thursday night it's going to be the Ravens visiting the Chiefs. And then you've got the Packers taking on the Eagles Friday in Brazil. There's your first two games to open up the NFL season. Talk about attention drawing games there. So, yeah. I wonder if we're going to let me see if I can find any info here because the NFL did this. Was it last year where like the Monday and the Tuesday and Wednesday morning they revealed like certain games and such? Okay, it just says here the NFL will unveil the entire schedule. Okay. I do wonder if they're gonna reveal another one tomorrow morning. I feel like they did that on the show Good Morning Football, but with all the changes going on over there, that maybe that's not a thing or anything like that. But for anybody that maybe is getting ready to plan off their summers and such, reminder that schedule release is going to be on Wednesday at some point in time. So all right, tell you what, let's take a quick break here. We should have JC Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire, coming in a little bit, in a few minutes here. So we'll get to him. We'll do a little local sports roundup with him. We'll get his grades for the Brewers as well. What is he handing out for the crew for their first quarter? We'll get his thoughts, and we'll get back to your thoughts. All right, text us, comment on the video stream, all that good stuff. Quick break, and we'll be back after these few words. One of the best scents in the world is when you step outside and you smell someone grilling out or have that smoker going. It's now that time of year. You're excited. I'm excited. We are all excited. So let's hit a home run this year for our grilling season. And you can do that by visiting Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire. Whether you have a hankering for brats to put on the grill or ribs to put on the smoker, you know you're getting quality when you shop at Mike's Star Market. Welcome to backyard barbecuing season, people. Just fire up those grills and smokers and let's put on some quality products from Mike's Star Market to put on those grills and smokers. Mike's Star Market, deliberately old-fashioned to assure quality and affordability. We just fired up some steaks from Mike's on the grill last night. Fantastic ribeyes over there. So JC in the EC, Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire. Happy PGA Championship week.
Yes,
doesn't feel like it, but it's. I mean, I get they want to do the whole, April, May, June, July, but I also feel like the PGA Championship is like the one that always gets forgotten about at this point. So
it somehow kind of gets, because now it's wedged in between the Masters and U.S. Open. So I still think it's better in May though than.
Do you like it in May?
Yeah, it used to, because I think they just got lost in the NFL shuffle and baseball playoffs and whatever you want to throw out there. So I think May's it's a good way to do it. Just have one each month for the next 4 months and kind of control that part of the schedule of the calendar.
Do you think let me ask you this now, do you think that's that hurts Wisconsin in hosting one in May?
Yes, I think that was one of the bigger things. Was once that happened, Whistling Straits was basically out of the rotation because you just can't predict what you're going to get. Right. And you have this weekend, beautiful.
Yep.
But you could still have, snows can happen, but it could be freezing.
Right.
So I understand that. I just, they would have to try to get in the U.S. Open mix, and that's such a competitive thing too. So I don't know. It'll be interesting if we see Major Golf come back to Wisconsin for a while here.
I feel okay if there was one, and it doesn't. It'd have to be either obviously U.S. Open or PGA Championship. Do you think Sand Valley would be the next one?
From its reputation, yeah. I mean, I think that place is so nationally known. That would be the one, but. And they're so far out planned.
Right.
Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to have to be. Well, and I remember, and I'll say this. I mean, I remember when Whistling was announced, and it seemed like it was so far away by the time they were going to, especially when the Ryder Cup was announced.
Right.
It's like, oh man, 2020 Ryder Cup. This was like 2004, 2000. It's like, but time flies. So I hope so. I think people know how big golf is in Wisconsin.
Right.
It really is. I think it's underrated gem in the United States for golf. So, but people who've been here, who've experienced championships here, know that it's big. So, let's hope. Let's hope at some point they can get one back here.
Right. I agree. Maybe it is Ryder Cup again.
Yeah.
If it's gonna, because it's later on in the year.
Yeah, but. And I think a PG. I mean, if you do the Ryder Cup and they did that in September, there's no saying that you couldn't do a major in late May. But things aren't, depending on the time of year, what you're getting to bloom at this point of the year could be a little bit different. Maybe Sand Valley, because it's a little farther south,
right,
might have a better chance. But it's going to be tough.
Because or they just embrace it, like maybe the NFL draft's embracing it. Coming to Green Bay, if it snows, it snows. It's just part of the culture,
right? It's a little tough to putt if you get But I think, if you go by the lake, if you go to Whistling Straits, and that's my in-laws, live like 5 miles off the lake, but that wind's coming off the lake, it completely affects everything and drops the temperature by 10 degrees.
Yeah.
So you could have a 40-degree, but then again, that would be kind of like, the Open Championship over there. Like the wind obviously affects and cold affects that championship. So why not embrace it? If anything, get them a regular tour stop.
Exactly.
Get something back here in Wisconsin that's a regular tour stop. I think that would be great. I think you got the 3M over in the Twin Cities. I think you could host something Sand Valley, kind of rotate it. When that PGA Wisconsin opens up, that's where the AmFam's going.
Yep.
So we'll see if there's maybe something with that as well.
Yeah. So before you go, though, today, let me get your PGA Championship pick.
Okay.
You'll be the first one with that prediction. So going to go Rory coming off the win. Momentum there. So it's at Valhalla. Saw Tiger already getting some work over there. So posting the pictures.
I hate to say it, my pick's not going to be Tiger.
What?
I know.
So believe it or not, though, too, Justice, we're like the first quarter of the Brewer season's already in the books. It's like halfway through the game tonight. First quarter of the season's already in the books. It's like that 24.6% now, and after the game would be like 25.3.
Yeah.
So we're doing kind of like first quarter grades, team wise, player wise, who's on a roll, who's restricted study hall because they stunk it up, that sort of stuff. I don't know of too many people who would probably put the team or some players in there, but are the Brewers for a team grade for you? Would you give them anything lower than an A right now?
I don't think you can, just
Yeah.
because of how much they've exceeded expectations. And I was listening driving in here, like, yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people are saying. It's like you didn't know what you were going to get from this team coming in, especially when you trade Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff's done for a year, So it's up to Freddie, and that's a lot of pressure to put on Freddie Peralta to be that number one, because I don't think he's ever really been that in that role. But as far as I'm concerned, everybody's kind of just exceeded expectations. And I think Freddie's been out there pitching well, very well. I mean, he's had some really good starts, and you're getting guys like Colin Ray, and I think maybe the ones you would look at is like a Joe Ross, because I mean, after Colin Ray and Freddie Peralta, it's the starter percentages.
Yeah, Gasser's just got the one game. You don't want to put too much on him right away, but
the rest of the starters, as it said, are 1 and
air
7.
quotes.
Yeah, this is according to Baseball Reference. But then you have guys like a Brian Hudson who have stepped up and have, my Cy Young vote's going to Brian Hudson.
Well,
I don't have a vote, but
my Hudson would be happy to hear about that because that's obviously his new favorite player. So
I've just been amazed by the bullpen, really, because I mean, that was talk about guys that you were kind of like, who's this, and that's a lot of they've been able to. That bullpen really has probably been the key. It hasn't really been too many implosions. So I think I would go with that bullpen being, one of the bigger keys too. And just the lineup being able to situationally hit something completely different than what we've seen from the Craig Counsell era Brewers.
Right.
And I don't know if that was by design, if that's what they were going for. And that's what the analytics said they were doing, whatever Counsell was doing there. I just think I like the way this team, stealing bases, slapping a single to right, getting a run home compared to just relying on the home run.
Yep. Contreras, I mean, if we were to do it for first quarter Major League Baseball, call it homerism, but I look at the numbers, that dude's an MVP candidate right now.
I think so. I think he wants to be in there every day. And when he's in there, when he's at bat, you're going to get contact almost every time. And he knows how to, I go back to situationally hit. Well, you're not hitting 346 if you're not finding a way to get on base. So I think Contreras right now, he's probably not going to be voted the starter for the NL just because Milwaukee just never seems to get that unless it's like a Christian Yelich going off or a Ryan Braun. But yeah, this is, to me, him. I mean, Terang hitting over 3. This is a nice thing. I'm looking at the lineup right now, and you have two guys hitting well over 300 that are in the lineup every day. And then Christian Yelich is hitting 364.
Right.
Missed a month, but comes back and doesn't even really hasn't missed a beat.
No, I mean, it was the first game I think he went hitless, but since then he's had multiple hits in the next 3 games. It's like if those are the top 3 that are going to continue to put up numbers, and even like Terang, if he's staying in that leadoff spot, I feel like if he just hits a single, you're feeling good. Okay, that's actually going to turn into a double because he's going to steal.
Yeah.
And then you got Contreras who just can hit all over the field, and it feels like that's an easy run right away.
Yeah, I mean, if I had anything like even Gary Sanchez, who I bemoan as only hitting home runs, but has been doing that when he comes in to spell Contreras for the once every 4-5 games.
Right.
And that's what you want. And he's got a power bat off the bench that you need. I mean, if there's anybody who's disappointing, I think Churio, you just got to be patient with.
Yeah.
He's so young. Blake Perkins, after that great start, has really fallen off. And then, like Sal Frelick hasn't really done a whole lot either. So there's guys who have had their struggles, but then you have guys come in who are able to hit. So you've got the guys who are switching in and out. So the platoon guys, as you would say it's kind of different now. I don't feel like you have true platoons like you used to have back in the day. But
Right.
Jake Bowers can come in, Oliver Dunn can come in. So, and even Andrew Montesario, I mean, he isn't doing much, but seems like that utility spot's been kind of tough to get much production from. But yeah, I think this team, looking at it from what I saw in spring, not knowing what you're going to see, and saw a lot of young guys in spring, and this is the reason, because they're really leaning on that youth. But the veterans that are there are producing, and that's huge.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I have not seen anybody give a reason why they should be lower than an A at this point. I mean, it sure seems like this division in the first quarter, it's shaping up to be a 2-team race.
Yeah.
Between Brewers and Cubs right now, which, I mean, if you're the baseball gods, why wouldn't you draw up anything else?
Right. Yeah.
Besides
I mean, if you can go to game 163.
Yes. Yeah. With, oh my God, can you imagine the drama?
Yeah. The crowd.
And it's got to be in Milwaukee too. That's the thing. It's got to be in Milwaukee for that. So
I mean, you look at the rest of the division. It's Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and St. Louis. It's 18, 17, and 16 wins. So they're not out of it by any means. And even St. Louis, as bad as they've been playing, are still not that far away. We never count out St. Louis. That's always been my thing. But this is as bad of some St. Louis baseball as I've seen played in the last 20 years.
Right.
25 years.
Yeah.
Going back to when La Russa took over.
And looking at the history, their manager's probably going to be on the outs.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mike Schilt firing, I think now is not looking the greatest when they let him go.
No. And really, I don't understand that one. Like, for the culture, like St. Louis baseball is kind of a different breed than the rest. And it seems like they very much have grounded themselves in being, they want to be the class of the NL in a way, like not just winning, but the way they handle things. But the last couple of years have not been very Cardinals-like.
Right.
I know we all don't like the Cardinals, but as an organization, the way they've been run, you almost have to admire what it's been like for the last 25 years, because Cardinals have been there almost every year.
Right. Yeah. More grades coming. It's pretty much A's across the board, team wise here. Back to Jackson Churio for a sec. I thought, because even before his start yesterday, he wasn't getting in the starting lineup. And then I know some fans had questioned it and such. And then Pat Murphy throughout the court, like he's got to be held accountable. And it sounds like it's more towards his pregame routine. Like, and he mentioned now that he's hanging out with Contreras and Adames for BP. And those are two guys that put in extra work at BP, which, I mean, not to give him a complete pass, but he is a youngster, first year at the pro level. He probably doesn't know how to act like a pro or how to prepare like a pro at this point in time. But I almost feel like, too, it's like Contreras, we knew, you're investing a lot of money into him right away. Hasn't made a pro. Maybe some first-time managers, inexperienced managers might be afraid a little bit sometimes to really lay the hammer down on a young prospect like that the team has invested. I guess the point I'm getting at is, like, is Pat Murphy almost the perfect manager for Jackson Churio right away to begin his career?
I think so, because you got a guy who had, I think, vast experience in college coaching as well. So he's used to handling talented young players. So I think this for me is, for him, is perfect. And Pat Murphy just has that temperament. I think that'll be good to help. I think with Churio, I mean, I think you get a lot of the younger guys will come in and don't realize they want to just get by on that natural skill they have. But a lot of times once you get to the pros, it doesn't work that way. You have to put in that extra work. You're going to have guys who are natural hitters and that it comes to them, but I think you have to put in that extra work, because this day and age, with what the pitchers can throw and with the way the defenses are set up, it's not easy to get a hit in Major League Baseball. So I think he'll be fine. I think, do we see him at some point get sent down for more time? Maybe. But that doesn't mean the end of the world.
Right.
He's very young. He's very young and still has a lot to grow, but we know that the talent's there. It's just all about molding that talent and making sure that it can be consistent at the major league level. And I think that's what Pat Murphy's trying to do.
Right. I agree. All right. Let's take a quick break here, and we'll finish up the second hour. We got a little local sports roundup. Mentioned it a little bit earlier, but how cool was that for Oliva Strum yesterday to go down to AmFam Field and pick up a win against Pewaukee too? So shout out to them. And it's postseason time for a lot of our local teams too. That's about 7:45 here this morning. Let's finish up the first hour here. Little local sports roundup brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. First off, let's lead off because it's got to be such a cool experience to do this. Aliva Strum, after the Brewers Cardinals game yesterday, played on American Family Field against Pewaukee, and they came away with the victory, 8-6. Which Pewaukee's a really good team too, aren't they? I mean, Aliva Strum is, too, but because Aliva Strum had that really good run last year, was it?
Yeah,
with their baseball team.
Most of those players are back this year, if not all of them are back from that. Most of that, probably most. But yeah, they've had a really good season so far in the Dairyland, which has been a really tough conference with Blair Taylor, Schrammick throwing, striking out 21 people.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's awesome that they get to go down there. Experience playing at a pro stadium is just got to be the coolest thing ever,
especially as a high schooler. Man, that's got to be so cool.
So congrats to them. Yeah, and for baseball next week, I believe, is when the playoffs start. Softball starts the regional semi-quarterfinals. So a couple of games, not much. There'll be a few games on Thursday, but in general, the playoffs will start on Tuesday.
Okay.
When all the softball divisions will start playing. So
speaking of softball, because I know last week some of the brackets got released. Are all of them now released? Do you know?
It might be down because I don't think D1 had been released. But I think this weekend would have probably been the seeding. So I think could be out there now. It wasn't when I was driving home yesterday.
It's not out there yet. I got them up here for Division 1. Division 2's out. Division 3, Division 4, and Division 5. So not D1.
I would think that'd be sometime this week. That would be released because I would think they would start either Tuesday or Thursday next week.
Okay. So
if the smaller ones are starting on Thursday.
Right. With that, I know they got a bye, but Rice Lake is a 1 seed. So in Division 2, they will play the winner of Black River Falls or Osceola. Hayward as a 5 is taking on number 4 Baldwin Woodville. St. Croix Central is a 6 seed taking on number 3 Somerset. Altoona is a 7 seed taking on Ashland. Winner of that would take on Ellsworth.
That'll be Altoona is a tough team, so I think that they'll kind of take it to them that they got that set. I think they're a better team than that, and I think they'll have to play that first game on Thursday there, so that'll give them some extra motivation.
I like it. Then let's go to Division 3 here, just because I have them up here quick. Bloomer versus Barron. I feel like could that be a tricky good one too? Bloomer as a 5 at number 4 or Barron. St. Croix Falls is a 3 at Cameron is a 6. Cumberland's a 7 seed. They take on Webster Siren. That winner takes on number 2 Spooner. Elk Mound is a 5 seed, taking on number 4 Arcadia. Durand, Arkansas is a 6, taking on number 3 Gale Electric Trempealeau. Then Stanley Boyd's a 7 seed, taking on Aquinas, who's a 2 seed over there.
That'd be the level right now is very even throughout the board. So I think there'll be some upsets that you're going to see in all these divisions. Because I think the teams are right there. It's a razor thin margin between a lot of these teams about where they're at. And just, could be depend on what conference you're playing in. And if you're playing in the Clover Belt, like say Stanley Boyd, you're playing Fall Creek, you're playing McDonald, and you're playing Thorpe.
Right.
3 really, really good teams all the time. So you're going to have, you're going to have some losses on it, but also you're going to be kind of, you've gotten that experience against some good teams, so it should help you in the playoffs.
Right, absolutely. Division 4 looks like that's going to be a fun one, especially in this section where Fall Creek's the 1, and then McDonald Catholic Central is the 2 seed at the bottom of that one. You got Regis as a 10 taking on number 7 Augusta. That winner takes on McDonald. Colfax is a 3 seed taking on Lake Holcomb Cornell. Cadott is a 5 seed taking on number 4 Boyceville. I mean, it's just loaded.
It's a loaded, yeah. I mean, Fall Creek has been probably the best in that conference. Donald's always right there. Thorpe's always right there. And Colfax, playing in the Dun St. Croix, has been playing some really good softball too. So the mix there is going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Division 5, you got Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran as a 3 seed. Going to be taking on a Gilman team too. That's kind of, they've had a lot of success over the years with their softball program.
Yes. Yep. I was stayed a couple when they were there.
Yep. Thorpe is the 2 seed in that one too, as you just mentioned.
And again, Thorpe has, they took their lumps against Fall Creek, but that's a team that, year in and year out, has had a good tradition of making those postseason runs, and so definitely could see it again.
Yep. So it's kind of hard to believe though that we're getting.
Yeah, this is like the last. I was looking. It's like the last weekend before it gets chaotic for about a month. Like for me, it gets ramped up real busy here after this weekend. So I'm ready for it. I'm ready for weather can stay like it is.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it.
Baseball wise, I know last week was the intercity rivalry series with North and Memorial, and they split. I mean, it's perfect, right?
Yeah, it was
split between those two.
What that was there for game one I was at on Wednesday, and that was fun. I mean, that was 0-0 up until the 7th inning, pitchers duel, and then you get 2 runs by Memorial, and then North comes back, gets 2 runs, and then ends up winning it in extra innings.
Yeah.
I was live when it actually happened, going live from Carson Park. So, and then Memorial comes back the next day, gets the win, and like you said, get the split, and talking about razor thin margins,
right?
I mean, that's what the Big Rivers has been this year. I mean, any team on a given day can find a way to beat any other team. You know, North was sitting there. I got to see how everything shook out there, but they were tied for the lead with Hudson for first place. And it's a big win for Memorial because I think that got them back to 500 in conference as well. So I get to the playoffs in that D1, that's going to be, you're not going to know.
Yeah.
And then once you get to sectionals where you play those 2 games, that's, yeah, it'll be fun to see who comes out. I mean, there's a lot of talented teams around the Wausau and Stevens Point area too.
Right.
That they're going to end up battling. But man, it's one of those years where I really don't know. Like, especially Big Rivers wise, and even Cloverbelt wise, it is just as closely, tightly packed as I have seen. Usually, you have a team that kind of rises above everybody else, but everybody's just right there fighting tooth and nail to get to the top.
So we got that going on. I know, tennis is also going on right now.
A lot of conference meets going on this week for a lot of things. For golf, the conference meet, Big Rivers, I know, has their conference meet on Wednesday at Whitetail and Colfax.
Ooh, nice.
Or Thursday. I think it's Thursday.
Okay.
But yeah, they have a BRC meet tomorrow at Wild Ridge too. So for 9 holes there. Yeah, and then tennis wise, I think it's a lot of conference meets. And then next week, we get into, like, next week's when everything just goes.
Yeah.
It really is how it works. Everything really starts to go next week. So it'll be interesting. Baseball will be kind of at the end of next, but yeah, it gets to be.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So track and field.
Yeah, this is all conference meet time too. And then next week will be I gotta believe it'll be regional, because it's the end of the month.
Yeah, because Brandon told me, he's like, I can't come in the 31st because it's state track and field.
Yes.
He said so.
Yeah, because that 31st, so you have state track and field, because I was making my schedule ahead. So 31st, state track and field, then 2 days later, state track or state golf, June 2nd and 3rd, or 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we're right there. I mean, we're really in the thick of it. So I would think, I'm trying to look at the times here we would be, next week would be, so next week would be the regional and sectionals for track and field.
Wow. And 2 weeks from today, it's Memorial Day, but also the Express open up their season too.
That's always kind of fun, because it always is like kind of a Memorial Day tradition of they usually get a practice on Sunday, and then they go out there and they play that next day. So
it's like, hey guys, welcome to Eau Claire. We got a game tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Head over to Momentum, hit some in the cages, and then your team get out there.
So I'm Dale, by the way, your manager. So
a lot of times that those first couple of weeks you don't have your full complement because you guys still playing. But he's been he said, I remember last year talking about, he's been better off getting more of his team together earlier than it used to be, but you'll still get the taxi.
It's all an unknown because you don't know how well those college teams are going to do.
Right.
So I know Blue Golds too, the softball, Blue Golds softball was ousted in the WIAC tournament, but that was a team that was just filled with a bunch of freshmen and a bunch of youngsters that got a ton of experience. I got to imagine is going to pay dividends in the next couple of years for Leslie Huntington's team.
And they battled these top teams in the WIAC so tough this whole year that I think the future is very bright for the Blue Golds. You get hardened there by playing and taking your lumps, but also being so close in a lot of those games. I think it was 2-1 their first game of the WIAC that, they battled.
Right.
They really did. And you hate to get eliminated, but I think this team will be watching the future years. Next year, watch out.
Yep, definitely. And I know track and field. I mean, that's with Coach Chip Schneider over there. Nationals coming up, and I know a lot of the athletes, track and field athletes. There was a couple events they were at this past weekend. I know lacrosse, and then it was what the St. Francis Fighting Last Chance invite, all getting ready for nationals, which is what their main goal is
It
for
wasn't
that group.
Yakubek Wade got like performer of the meet for the NEIAC outdoor. I mean,
what a
just
season he's having. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, setting records and such too. I mean, that man has been on a tear.
Yeah,
this year.
Well,
no doubt about it.
Just a specimen.
Yep.
And it's amazing. And I loved, seeing the clips of him as a former weightman, believe it or not, back in the day, and who was nothing even like a third of good as he was, like a third of my throw. You take 3 of my throws to get to what he could get to. That's how just outstanding he is. I am just always in awe.
Right. So, so busy time coming up in the next couple weeks here, especially next week. It sounds like with wrapping up regular seasons and getting ready for postseasons. And
it is here. So. It is all here, and it's going to be fun. It's a month that whips me into shape.
Yeah.
Once we get to the calendar gets towards June, it's go time for.
Is baseball, prep baseball, kind of like the last one when it gets to state and playoffs? Is that the one that kind of wraps it up?
Baseball and soccer.
Okay.
I think soccer's the last tournament officially because I think baseball's the beginning of that week.
Okay.
And then soccer's the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, not Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Gotcha. So, any teams for soccer to kind of pay attention?
I mean, Regis McDonald, however you want to put it, there are, one loss on the year, and that loss was to North, a D1 team at a tournament. So they have been playing great. Colleen Callahan and Annabelle Schroeder are just amazing players who just score in bunches. So I'd watch them. And then, Big Rivers wise, Memorial last year kind of hit their stride once the playoffs came. North has been playing some good soccer. They're right there too. So, and then I'll never count out Rice Lake.
I was just going to ask about Rice Lake.
Because Rice Lake, once they move down,
they
always make a run. So those are some of the teams that,
Awesome. That's your local sports roundup brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. Big thanks for JC for that. So shot clock's going to cut us off here in about a minute. I know we only got you for a little bit longer here. So we'll get back to it. Maybe we'll throw a little hoops chat in here too.
Sounds good.
With the NBA playoffs rolling. I know we got a lot of T-Wolves fans that listen and maybe right now a little nervous about the complete opposite. T-Wolves go to Denver, they win 2. Denver comes to Minnesota, they win 2. Series now tied at 2 apiece.
Yeah, I don't think that Denver was going to be the cakewalk that his first 2 games looked like.
Yeah. Although Ant-Man tried his best last night, 44 points again. He is now it's to where Hudson wants an Anthony Edwards jersey. I mean, he's getting that popular now.
Oh, I think so, and well deserved.
Yep,
really well deserved. I think anybody who's been able to watch him for the last few years knows just the level of talent he has. Now we're seeing it on the national stage.
Yep. All right, 2 in. We got 1 more to go. Quick news update, and then we'll be back after these quick words. Final hour on this Monday morning, kicking off right now. Our good friend Richie took Carson down to meet some new friends where we are moving, and one of them had a Edwards jersey and Bucks shorts on. That sounds like something Hudson would do too. Richie, our good buddy, is going to be moving down to Mass, and Richie, I'm just saying you better still be listening on the app or online. No excuses, you can't, or on the video stream. So, our good friend, also Big Worm. What are Justice's thoughts on the Fall Creek baseball team this year?
I think it's huge. You know, if you don't know the stories, Fall Creek didn't have a baseball team. I think it was the last 2 years, maybe 3 years. And so they were co-oping, and kids had to go to like Black River Falls if they wanted to play. They're 8-2 in the Clover Belt. I think they're 12-4, something like that overall. I mean, they're having a great season right now, and to not have a team, 12-6 overall, and to come back like that and be in first place in the Clover Belt, that's just him. I know it's them and Bloomer have been battling very much at the top there, but yeah, I think that's great. I mean, to not have a team, to not know if you were going to be able to play varsity baseball at your own school, and then come back out and make the most of it.
Yeah,
I think Dave Strasburg's smiling down in Fall Creek.
I know because you mentioned with their softball team too, they've been lighting up with the home run ball too. So I mean, it's a lot of good ball being played at the ballparks at Fall Creek.
The cornfields right there around those the baseball and softball facilities. They're seeing a lot of good. It's like the Field of Dreams.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome. The softball teams had expectations the whole, coming into it because they were so good last year. But baseball, you didn't know what to expect.
Right.
So for them to come out there and do what they've done, like I said, these conferences are so competitive, and Fall Creek's been taking advantage of it.
Yep. So we got NBA playoffs going on here. Right before we get to the teams that are still in it, I want to get your quick thoughts on it. And I never really hit it up, but this was a few days ago. It was in the Journal Sentinel. Giannis did an interview and such. And there was a quote. I'm going to read this quote to you, and I want to say something about it, get your thoughts on it. So he was talking about this offseason and such, and talking about, some of the positives coming up here, saying we have that stability. We're not questioning and trying to figure out how it's going to look moving forward. And now that you just got to work, strategize to the best of your abilities. Dame's going to be here. Chris is going to be here. Brooke is going to be here. Bobby's going to be here. I hope I'm here. And then we go and try to find out what we have. So one, it sounds like he wants to run it back with what he has with the team. But why did he have to word it saying, I hope I'm here?
I don't know. That's where it makes you a little nervous about what.
He's willing to say everybody else is going to be there. Then he throws in, I hope I'm here. Like, why can't you just say, I'm going to be here? Because that then opens the speculation up to like national people or whatever to try to spin it. And if you don't want it to spin it, just go, yes, you will be there if you want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You are Giannis Antetokounmpo. You will be there if you want to be there. So why phrase something like that?
It's Giannis, so I almost feel like that's just the way when he talks,
right?
So I don't put too much into it. I think maybe injury wise, maybe we don't know the full extent of what exactly was going on with the calf, Achilles, kind of a thing going on. So maybe that's why he put that there. But yeah, I think barring a fire sale, there's no way. I mean, the fact that maybe these guys are all in. They have that core. It's just now you got to find the rest of the pieces to go around that core. So, yeah, I'm not going to read too much into it. But, yeah, as you said, it gives the national pundits more fuel to say that Giannis doesn't want to be there. But
so I know you and I have talked about should they move on from Brooke and all that. Now you got Giannis saying Brooke's going to be here. Is it one of those situations now where I think it happens too often, but I get it. It's how the game is played now. Where Giannis is like, hey, I want Brooke here. And maybe you're stuck keeping Brooke here because you got to make Giannis happy, right?
I think Brooke, if he's in a role where he's maybe not starting anymore and he's coming off the bench as more of a role player, I think fits. So I think you just need to find a defensive, somebody who can stop on the defense side of the ball more on that end. So I'm fine with him coming back. I mean, I mean, he's still got those intangibles of being huge and being able to shoot 3-pointers well. And we saw him just go off a few times too. So
Yep.
I like that, but yeah, I think there's players that are going to be gone because they really, if they want to run Doc's system and get that defense to clamp down more, they're going to have to make some changes.
I mean, look at the offenses that are left in the Eastern Conference, especially, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's run.
Exactly.
Run.
Right. Athleticism up the you-know-what. I mean, you got to get a little younger and got to get some fresher legs and guys who can do that, right? I mean,
I think you do. Yeah.
I don't know if you can necessarily force a team to play to your style like that because you almost have to be perfect from the offensive side.
If we're looking at people that are probably, I mean, I don't know what you do with Pat Connaughton.
Yeah.
I think he might be on the outs. Pat Beverly.
Yeah, he's already. You got to get him out of there. I think that was a move now. Like, okay, he's got experience with Doc. Maybe somebody intermediate, type of thing. I don't know if you can bring him back now.
Yeah, that whole thing did not go down well.
No.
Then you get the younger guys, so you don't know what happens with an AJ Green. And those are pieces that, if you make trades, are there. But again, not a whole lot of money.
No.
To go out and get guys, so you're going to have to really manage that cap and find a way to bring some veterans in, I think. And ones that effective veterans.
Yeah.
It's a tough. I mean, it's tough. I don't know what exactly. I mean, they have a great core. It's just you got to find a way to be able to stop guys. Yeah, you can score, but man, they could not stop people at times, and just watching them run down the lane. And so there are definitely changes, but I mean, everybody seemed, as much as it is, probably stunk to get knocked out in the first round. Doc was positive after it, like he wants, going forward, and I think everybody realizes what they have. It's just finding a way to maximize what they have right now.
It's just such a weird season from beginning to end. Like, there's just a lot of moving stuff and moving parts with it. Dame getting traded right before the season, a first-time head coach, and then his top assistant quits right before, and it was just and then you fire your coach, and then you bring in Doc. I mean, there was just a lot of moving stuff. It felt like they just never got settled.
No, and you're right. And now you got Mike Budenholzer
back
taking over the Suns. So I mean,
I'd rather have the Suns job than the Lakers job. So kudos to Bud over there.
I want to put it out there because I have to say it every week. The Bucks moved on too soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be something worth watching now, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's see what he does. The Suns end up turning out to, if they win a title.
Yeah.
And you look at it like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have. I just think Budenholzer had a good luck on playing defense. And yes, they would take their knocks, but I think he was always good at bouncing back most of the time with these teams. Now, injuries didn't help his end of his tenure as well, but so I think I have faith in Doc can do the job for the Bucks, but it's the NBA is just an insane amount of competitive everywhere. Like a team like Philadelphia that a couple of years ago was the talk of the town.
Yeah.
The Bucks were the talk of the town. It doesn't take long for you to get shuffled back down. Phoenix is another example. Phoenix has been through two coaches as well since going to the finals. The
Lakers have gone through what Frank Vogel won it in the bubble for them, and they've gone through him and Darvin Ham, and now whoever else they're going to hire.
I mean, the NBA is now on par with the NHL for as quick as they'll make a change for a team.
Yep, exactly. So Minnesota losing last night to Denver. That series is now tied at 2 apiece. I said it last week. I feel like if Denver ties the series, Denver's going to win the series. And I still feel like that right now with the series moving back to Denver. I'm not trying to pick on Minnesota. I wouldn't have been too comfortable. It was huge to go 2-0 on the road, but I really felt Minnesota had to get at least one at home. They had to get one at home.
Yeah, that switches momentum so well. Now you go back to Denver. Denver has the momentum at home. Minnesota had the momentum so much momentum in Denver, just coming off their first round series.
Yep.
I think this is really going to be a test for this young team.
Yep.
Because you got a Denver team that's been there, done that.
Yep.
Now they're feeling their stride. Where you had them, you had them on the blocks. They were done.
Yeah.
Not done, but like you crushed their hopes for 2 games. But I don't think anybody, I never saw sweep was even in the equation.
No.
Because Denver's just too good. You've got an MVP on the floor there.
And watching him play, if you haven't watched him play, and was watching it a little bit last night too, but he's unorthodox in his play too.
Yeah.
There was a play, and I think even Jamal Crawford and Reggie Miller said, he went off the wrong foot there. It was like a little turnaround, little hook shot. Like he was supposed to go off his right foot, but he went off his left. It looked awkward, but he made it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just that kind of player that he can do whatever it seems like, and it's going to go in. I mean, some of his floaters, it just looks awkward, but it goes in.
It's him and Luka.
Yeah.
Both can just pull something out of the hat
Mm-hmm.
and just make it happen. And I think that's what makes him great. I think that's where I think of like Arvydas Sabonis.
Ah,
if he would have ever,
nice name pull.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we would have ever seen Arvydas Sabonis in his healthy prime before his knees had went and back had went.
Yep.
Playing in the NBA.
Yep.
That's what we would have seen.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a different, it's almost like that European style of basketball that they play.
We're seeing his kid succeed.
Right,
at it,
exactly.
So, yep.
And I think a lot of it too is, go back to my favorite player of all time is like Larry Bird.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of they weren't pretty, but man, he found a way to get shots off.
Yep.
And just baffle defenses.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing with this evolution here. So Joker and Luka. I'm just watching them when they're on the floor and just watching those little things. I think it's great for basketball for kids growing up because there's not just one way to do things.
Right.
And those guys really show you that there's different ways. And if you've got the talent and you work hard enough, man, you can really succeed. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's what the Timberwolves are up against is just a team that's got experience and one of the, I guess we could say could be an all-time great. He's already two-time MVP?
Three-time
MVP.
Yeah, he's joined your boy, Larry and Magic. I mean, that's an elite company with guys who have 3 or more MVPs.
Yeah. So I mean, looking at that, I mean, we're watching greatness, and
you don't see too often too. He brings the ball up quite a bit.
Yeah.
For a big man, he's the guy that's bringing the ball up quite a bit.
And that's the thing. It's just like you look at him, and you're just always like, how does he do this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
It's just pure talent, raw talent, and it's amazing.
It is. So, all right, JC, I know you got to get going here. So, big thanks for stopping in, buddy.
Oh, no problem.
I know it's got a busy couple weeks coming up here for you. So keep up the good work over there, you and the entire team at Sports Scene 13. So we'll be paying attention. We're watching.
Thank you.
So
always watching.
All right, there you go, Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire, Sports Scene 13. We're going to take a quick break here. And we'll be back with more. We'll get back to some more Brewers chat coming up after these quick words. Eau Claire Express begin their season 2 weeks from today, and Sports Talk Night also going to be 2 weeks from this Friday. And you could be there too. Just go to sportstalk1051.com, click on the Fan Cave tab over there, and enter to win some tickets to the Eau Claire Express game coming up on May 31st. Can't believe it's already going to be Express season coming up here in a couple weeks. So hopefully we'll see quite a few of you at the ballpark this summer. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. Couple of nuggets here that I just saw in the good old Twitter sphere here. Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it these days. I'm still going to call it Twitter. Couple of college basketball notes here. Great Osborne, the top available player in the transfer portal, has committed to Washington. He will now be the highest paid known player in college basketball. $2 million of NIL deals already in place. $2 million. Holy moly. And then with that, Bronny James is going to remain in the NBA draft. In the aftermath, this is from Adrian Wojnarowski. In the aftermath of his cardiac arrest and a procedure to repair congenital heart defect 9 months ago, the NBA's fitness to play panel has medically cleared Bronny James to be drafted and play in the league. And then Shams from The Athletic has said that he is expected to remain in the NBA draft. So there you have it. I mean, when it gets to the NBA draft next month, it's going to be who's going to draft Bronny James. Who's going to that's going to be the storyline for all the talk about, if you kind of follow along online and that a lot of people in the know that follow the draft and the NBA draft and that say it's not a great class. Well, if it's not a great class, the main storyline is going to be where's Bronny James going to be drafted. And could you see a team like draft him a little bit higher than what he probably should go just to pacify LeBron James and such? Speaking of college basketball, too, should also note that UW Green Bay men's basketball is going to be looking for a new head coach as their Sundance Wicks is going back to Wyoming. It was announced yesterday that Sundance Wicks, who was an assistant at Wyoming, is a native of Wyoming, has been named the new head coach at Wyoming after spending a year as the head man over at UW Green Bay. Turned that program around, 15-win difference in his first year. So, yeah, UW Green Bay is going to be looking for a new head coach again for the men's team over there. Not sure where they're going to go, or haven't really seen any names kind of being popped up there. So something to kind of keep an eye on. Both, if you think about it now, both the men's and the women's team for UW Green Bay. I know UW Green Bay's already got their women's head coach, but that university will now have 2 new head coaches for the upcoming college basketball season. So, all right, back to some baseball chat here. A lot of you, first quarter of the Brewers season in the books, and I haven't seen anybody give the Brewers lower than an A- so far. So if you were to give a letter grade to the Brewers, what would it be? Hit me up with a text at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or comment on the video stream, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. And if you got any individual grades you want to give, let us know. Who's got the highest grade? I mean, is anybody top William Contreras at this point in time? What kind of grade would you give Jackson Cheerio? What grade would you give Cheerio for the first quarter of his pro season? C, B, D? I don't think anybody would give it an A. I don't know if anybody would give it an F. But what grade would you give Jackson Cheerio? Started off, really good. And then, last 2 games hasn't played. Did play yesterday in the starting lineup. I kind of went with a C, about average. I mean, again, we put so much expectations on him, and I get it too. I mean, talk about top 2 prospect in all of Major League Baseball and signs that big deal, and you instantly putting a lot of pressure for especially a kid who hasn't played at the major league level. So yeah, there's instantly a lot of pressure, and a lot of fans are going to put a lot of pressure on him. But what letter grade would you give him if you're into power rankings? Major League Baseball, MLB.com, I should say, has their latest power rankings out there. Brewers coming in at number 6, moving up 1 spot. Their season high was at 5. But it says here the Cardinals have historically tormented the Brewers, including in the 2011 NLCS and the 1982 World Series and my bachelor party. Oh, no, I added that part. The Crew's lone appearance in the Fall Classic. Talk about that World Series. So it has to feel fantastic for Milwaukee to just be smashing St. Louis right now. The Brewers won their first 6 games against the Cardinals this year before a close loss on Sunday afternoon, kicking the Redbirds relentlessly when they're down. Milwaukee has a plus 36 run differential this year. Plus 26 of that is against St. Louis. So if you're wondering, just in the National League side of things, they would be 1, 2, 3, the 4th highest National League team, behind the Phillies, who they got at number 2, Dodgers at 3, Braves 4. Number 1 is Baltimore, according to MLB.com, for their power rankings. So Brewers are going to be back at it tonight, though, going up against the Pirates to begin a 3-game series. You got Colin Ray on the mound. Colin Ray was a guy that we talked about, handing out some grades to. And I gave him, might be a little bit low, but I gave him a solid B plus. Because, again, as we've said many times, Colin Ray was a guy we had no idea who he was when he came up last year. He was a veteran, but we were like, who? And got thrown into the rotation because a lot of injuries. I would say average year last year. Then, he's going to be a starter in the rotation this year. Didn't really know what to expect from him still, even though, we had a year of watching him last year, but was it going to be kind of the same as last year? Could he take a step up this year? And I think it's fair to say in the first quarter of the season, Colin Ray has taken a positive step this year. 3-0, a little over 3 ERA. He's been eating some innings for a pitching staff that has been hit by injuries all across the board, starters, bullpen, you name it. And I think the best way to describe what Colin Ray has been for this ball club has just been, he's been solid. He's been solid. So that's where I give it a solid B plus for Colin Ray. My A grades, I went with Contreras, Bryce Terang. I know Yelich missed a month, but I'm still giving him like an A minus on there. Hudson, the relief pitcher, I think has been fantastic. Maybe A minus on there too. And I gave Pat Murphy an A. And the one guy maybe we didn't give a letter grade to yet is Matt Arnold, Brewers general manager. What letter grade would you give Matt Arnold for the first quarter of the season for this Brewers team? Again, this is the team he has put together. Okay. Looking at some of the moves he made in the offseason and how they've affected this team in the first part. Traded Corbin Burns, got Ortiz. Ortiz has been logging some time there. DL Hall played a little bit there, but he's been banged up. Some of the other moves, signing Rhys Hoskins. What kind of grade, first quarter grade, could you give a first quarter grade to Matt Arnold for putting together this team? B? Do you think that's fair? B plus? And, if we're giving the Brewers an A, why wouldn't you give Matt Arnold an A? That's a good point, too. I mean, maybe it is an A. Or maybe you feel like, they're still, would like to see maybe a little bit more here or there. Man, B plus? See around there for you? It just feels like it's a B plus. I'm going based off gut right now. But no doubt, I don't think anybody can grade the Brewers below a B plus for their first quarter grades. And if you did, it's probably because you had super high expectations for the season for some reason. Maybe you thought, hey, I'm looking into this. I'm looking at this roster. They're young and you got some mixed and veterans in there, but hey, it's still I'm expecting World Series, man. That's my expectation, and maybe, but I think a lot of us didn't really know what the heck to expect for this season. New manager, a lot of youngsters, few veterans mixed in here, and right now we're talking about still in first place in the NL Central. I'll take that. Heck yes, I will definitely take that at this point. I just hope it continues. I hope when we do these quarter grades after the conclusion of the second quarter and we're halfway through the season, they're still in first place and we're saying, gosh almighty, this team is still playing lights out. And we get to, the end of the third quarter and the final push of the season into the postseason, they're still playing at a high level. And, guys hopefully getting healthier. Devin Williams hopefully going to be back next month to really solidify the back end of that bullpen. I mean, I'm sure they're probably going to really have him do a lot of rehab, like AAA starts, maybe even some Appleton starts over there, just to make sure he's good to go. I mean, stress fractures in your back, and he missed quite a bit of time going back to spring training. So I feel like they're going to take their time and make sure they get it right. And you're probably going to see quite a few rehab starts from him. But once he's back, I mean, that's kind of like a trade addition. By the time he comes back and he's going to be back in the fray, it's kind of like adding an all-star at the trade deadline. And if he just kind of picks up to where at that level that we know he's capable of, you got a back end closer to lock things down in the ninth and can kind of figure out the rest of your bullpen after that. Your setup, your seventh. So yeah, a lot of you with your text haven't seen anything lower than a B plus. And honestly, I hope we don't see anything lower than a B when it comes to this team. They've been a gritty, fun ball club to watch. I don't know. I go into these games not really knowing what to expect night and night. The only thing I feel like we can go in and expect is that Contreras is going to get on base. I mean, he's on a 20-game streak of getting on base safely. I feel like that's the only thing we can almost, put your bets down and put your money down. I was like, yeah, Contreras probably going to get on base tonight. After that, it's like, oh man, is this going to be an offensive game where they're just going to explode and they're going to steal for a bunch of bases? Are we going to have a Robert Gasser type of pitching performance? I'm really excited to see Robert Gasser. I hope he gets plenty of opportunities this year. I mean, he goes out there and he pitches like he did Friday night. And he does that on a consistent, I mean, that's asking a lot to do that on a consistent basis, but he goes out there and starts to put together some quality starts night in and night out. That guy ain't going back down to AAA. You can't ask for a much better performance in your major league debut than what Robert Gasser did on Friday. 6 innings. I mean, there was the talk too. Remember, leading up to that game in AAA, what was the most innings he pitched? Like 4 in a AAA game? And so we all had this number, and they were even talking about the number, the pitch count. It's like, okay, it's going to be around here, and then, maybe 3-4 innings. Dude went 6. And he threw, what was the number? How many consecutive strikes to finish up his start? It was in the teens. He was throwing strikes, getting out of innings early. He was in full control. That sweeping pitch he had, it was looking lethal. I mean, it was super impressive for his major league debut to go out there, and he looked like a veteran that has been doing it for how many years? 2 hits, no walks, no runs. Be awesome if he can build upon that. I mean, let's play the odds. He's going to have some down games, especially in his first year, but boy, if he's a guy that can stay in that lineup and have games like that throughout the season, what a boost for this team too. All right, we got to take our final break here. We'll do that. We got some picks and predicts coming up. We'll do some baseball, Stanley Cup, and NBA playoff picks over there. So we'll hit that up and kind of wrap some things up here as we close up shop on this Monday morning. Quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Turkey hunters, fishermen, fishing people, don't forget, if you got any photos that you snapped from your catch or maybe from your harvest, send them on over so we can put them up on the Tilden Gun trophy board so we can brag for you for a little bit, okay? Just go to sportstalk1051.com, click on the outdoors tab, and email us your photos so we can put them up there for the Tilden Gun Trophy Gallery there. And don't forget, too, Tilden Gun, your place to go for all your hunting firearm needs. You can visit tildengun.com and check out their massive selection, the biggest selection, all at the best prices. It's super easy to order online, too. But if you want to go talk with either, Sean or Hunter over there, fantastic customer service with those two, they'll help you find just what you're looking for at the best price, too. So I've gotten my deer rifle there. I've gotten my shotgun from over there. By the way, I'll be out on Friday hoping to bag my turkey this year. We'll see. Fingers crossed. But if for all your hunting firearm needs, head on over to our good friends at Tilden Gun. All right, let's do some picks and predicts, shall we? Picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room here in Eau Claire. Let's start off with let's do some Stanley Cup picks, shall we? Should we do? We'll do that. Then we'll do the NBA. Then we'll get into some baseball picks over here. So, all right. The NHL schedule for tonight. We've got two games. Carolina at New York. Carolina leading the series 3-2-1. Not 3-2-1. 3 versus 1. You know what I mean. I'm gonna go New York. New York gets Game 5 victory and forces a Game 6. Dallas at Colorado. Dallas is leading this series 2-1. I don't know why, but give me the Avalanche in this one to even it up 2 apiece. To the NBA world, we got two games tonight. Boston at Cleveland. The Celtics currently leading the series 2-1. I think the Celtics win again. Hey, they're not favored by double digits. Boston favored 9.5. Boston wins, and I think they actually do cover. Oklahoma City at Dallas. Pivotal Game 4 for Oklahoma City. I think they win. I think they're going to tie it up at 2 apiece. So give me the Thunder tonight. Let's go to the MLB schedule for today's games. We've got Toronto at Baltimore. Corbin Burns going to be on the mound for Baltimore. Toronto coming off their series loss to the Twins, right? So I'm going to go Baltimore in this one. Let's go with the Cubbies at Atlanta. Give me the Braves. Pittsburgh at Milwaukee. Colin Ray on the mound. Mitch Keller for the Pirates. You have a few Brewers who've had some good career success against Mitch. Give me the Brewers tonight for that series. What else do we want to pick here? Let's go Dodgers at the Giants. Give me the Dodgers tonight. So, all right, those are your picks and predicts. I forgot to get Justice's PGA pick. Let me shoot him a text here quick. See if we can get his prediction. See if he's going to answer his text here. I forgot to get that to him before he left here. So, all right, well, I'll make my PGA picks later on in the week when we get to round 1 on Thursday, or maybe we'll even do it Wednesday and such. So, all right, let's kind of wrap things up here. I know we got about 10 minutes to the top. So we spent a good amount this morning talking some Brewers. First quarter grades. Brewers taking 3 out of 4 against the Cardinals. They now have a series against the Pirates, wrapping it up at home before they begin their season-long road trip starting on Friday when they visit the Houston Astros. After that, it's Miami and then Boston before returning home 2 weeks from today to take on the Chicago Cubs for a 4-game series. So that shaping up to be a fantastic series over there. We also dabbled into some hoops chats with the playoffs going on, the T-Wolves falling to the Denver Nuggets. If you are a T-Wolves fan, how nervous are you right now? How concerned are you for your team? I think it's a crucial Game 5 coming up. I'll make a bold prediction. I think whoever wins Game 5 wins the series. That's my bold prediction between those two. So whoever wins, that's who I think wins the series. So we talked a little bit about that. Stanley Cup playoffs, we hit on here a little bit too. We know the NFL opening game. The schedule is going to get released on Wednesday. We know the opener. It's going to be the Chiefs taking on the Ravens. Chiefs taking on the Ravens. So Thursday's game is that. Friday's game, Packers, Eagles. I don't know if we're going to find out more tomorrow. Like, are they going to release another game tomorrow and then another game Wednesday morning? They did that last year. So don't know if they're going to do that or not. But regardless, we will know Wednesday. Probably even we'll know at least some games Wednesday morning when we're on the air. So once maybe we get to Wednesday or I don't know, maybe we'll hit up a little schedule talk. I already know I made my predictions and such, but other than that, it's pretty darn quiet surrounding the Packers. I know they had the softball game, Donald Driver, Jordan Love were co-hosts, but now Jordan Love's going to be the guy taking it over. It all started with Farvey. So about 20 years ago. Anybody ever go to that? I went to it one year. I went to it when, gosh, what year would it have been? Would it have been? It was 2010. That's right. It was 2010 because they ended up winning the Super Bowl later that year. Driver hosted it. Rodgers played in it. Clay Matthews was playing in it. But yeah, I went one year. Favre used to do it. It used to be on a Saturday in fall, right before I think camp opened up, or summer right before camp opened up. I think I could be wrong there, but that was on Friday. So I mean, you had a little bit of Packers stuff, I guess, going on there. So, but yeah, Jordan Love is now going to be he's going to be the host for that softball tournament. But there's a good piece too from Matt Schneidman, from the Athletic. More Packers coaching intel from 13 coach pressers. And it seems like a common theme here. It was the first one he put up there too. Jair's buy-in. You know, Jair Alexander, kind of a weird year last year for Jair, right? Gets suspended. Then there was questions about, is he going to be traded? Is he going to be gone? Is he does he want out of Green Bay? But now it's a thing out there that, you got Jair buying in. And it was even kind of before the season was, because Jair didn't show up for offseason workouts, and he passed on $700,000 for that. So you had all that in. You had all that speculation about Jair maybe wanting out of Green Bay. That wasn't the case. Here's a little bit of a write-up from Matt's article. Last offseason, cornerback Jair Alexander passed up a reported $700,000 workout bonus by not showing up to voluntary offseason work. He then showed up when the Packers didn't have organized team activities, which was the first perplexing turn in a messy season for the two-time All-Pro, who was ultimately suspended late in the season. The final straw before that discipline was Alexander's making himself a captain before the Week 16 game in Charlotte, but LaFleur said the decision to suspend Alexander wasn't just because of that. Early in this offseason, Alexander's buy-in appears to be in a much better place. When I've gotten here and Half's gotten here, we've seen nothing but his best, defensive pass game coordinator Derek Ansley said. He's been in here 2 or 3 weeks before we started phase 1, working with strength coaches, getting ahead, phenomenal attitude. He's been here every day for phase 2. He's leading that group the right way. He's breaking down the groups, a lot of energy every morning. He's been the same guy, so he's been a joy to work with that way. We're proud of that. We don't take that for granted, and we expect a lot out of him because he's got a lot to give. So I think a lot of us are kind of interested to see maybe what Jair Alexander is going to look like, how he's going to play, how he's going to be utilized in this defensive scheme from Jeff Hafley. Because again, what's got all Packers fans excited about with this? It's playing press man coverage. It's playing aggressive coverage. It's playing man-to-man. Something we've wanted to see Jair do. It's something Jair has even mentioned the last couple of years, right? Especially when it's come to Justin Jefferson. So I think a lot of us are expecting to see a dominant Jair, hoping to see a dominant Jair. And maybe with this, maybe if he was unhappy, maybe a little bit of a happier Jair. I mean, you listen to the guy talk and all that. I mean, he seems like he's always happy and such. So, but yeah, I would put Jair as, and I don't know how much we're going to really glean from training camp practice and such, but I will be curious to see how Jeff Hafley utilizes Jair Alexander. Are we going to see it to where he is matched up against the team's best receiver, where he's going to shadow and he's going to follow him? Or is he going to be strictly lined up on a certain side and whatever's the matchup it is what it is? I think that's going to be something that's going to be kind of interesting to watch. If they go up against Justin Jefferson. All right, Jair, you got him the whole game. Shut him down the whole game. Take away that half the field. Whatever side he's lining up on, take it out. Especially within this division now, too, when you think about it. I mean, Detroit, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Williams is probably going to continue to ascend. Bears. I mean, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Malik Neighbors. Or not Malik Neighbors. Rome, excuse me. Getting my rookie wide receivers mixed up. I mean, for crying out loud, NFL.com's already got the Bears as a top 5 pass-catching group. A lot of potential and a lot of excitement surrounding that. No question about it. So, yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how Jeff Hafley and this defense is going to utilize Jair Alexander within this scheme. So, what else do we got over here? So, let's do tomorrow. Coming up on tomorrow, it's going to be a Grind My Gears Tuesday, okay? I want to hear you guys and gals grind your gears, okay? What's grinding your gears? Get it off your chest, all right? You got to text us. You got to comment on the video stream. You'll feel better. We want to hear it. Just make it clean so I can say it on the air, okay? Just make it clean that way. If I got to bleep out some words, I guess I'll bleep out some words and such. But what's grinding your gears right now on this, or what will be May 14th tomorrow, okay? That's your homework assignment. What is grinding your gears? We're going to do that tomorrow, okay? Talk some Brewers tomorrow, hopefully talking about a win in Game 1 of their series against the Pirates. So hopefully we'll hit that up. We'll see the results from some playoff games and such. Maybe we'll get some more. Maybe we'll start to get some leaks in the good old NFL schedule. I don't know if we'll get them leaked this early, but hey, you never know, right? Let's make let's take the Man Cave van to the Packers 49ers game at Lambeau this year, possible. Hey, we're looking for some places to hit up. Our tailgates road trip series, I think that's what we're going to call it. It's going to make its debut on the 31st at our night at the Express game, May 31st, Friday, May 31st. So give us some suggestions. Hit us up with an email, all right? More details at sportstalk1051.com. Just click on that fan cave tab over there. All right, shot clock is going to cut me off here in about where are we at here? About 30 seconds. So, again, your homework, think about what's grinding your gears and let us know. Get it off your chest, okay? You can start to hit me up with text now if you want to. I'll just save them for tomorrow, okay? For our ASAP Used Auto Parts Grind My Gears Tuesday. So, we'll get to that. We'll talk some baseball. And then maybe we'll throw a little. I've got a topic I've been kind of contemplating bringing up here. I might do it. It's kind of related to a little green and gold, but not really. Yeah, it kind of is. So that's your tease. All right, you're gonna have to listen tomorrow because there you go. Shot clock's there. DP and Adanitz are up next. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your Monday. Let's do it again tomorrow morning, just past 6 a.m. See you then.